of you are thinking. I wonder if some of you are thinking, hold on, why don't I just eat better? Why don't I just tell everyone to eat better? And indeed, there are some fantastic studies that document the strong relationship between dietary patterns and mental health, although we're still in very early days of scientific investigation. We don't know who would benefit from dietary manipulation alone and who may need the additional boost from extra nutrients. But even in the last 5 years, there have been 11 epidemiological studies cross-sectionally and around and longitudinally in large populations around the world, all showing the same thing. The more you eat a prudent or Mediterranean or unprocessed type of diet, the lower your risk for depression. And the more you eat the Western diet or processed food, the higher your risk for depression.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Real Talk with Jean Price 2023. I want to take this time on behalf of myself and my production team to wish you a happy new year. It is going to be a great year. We're excited about the different things that we have in store for Real Talk. Listen, we want you to like, we want you to comment, we want you to share. I'm so excited about today's show because I have a little confession to make. The show is going to be great, but I'm not going to make the confession yet because I need to make it with my guests. So listen, we are so excited. You want some topics that we wanted to talk about, but this one is going to be great. It's probably one of my favorite things to talk about because I don't do so well with it. So that's part of my confession today, but I'm grateful for what we're going to be talking about today. So it is my distinct pleasure, right, to introduce our guest today. She is awesome in her own right. Help me welcome Jasmine Kearse to Real Talk with Jean Price.
Hello. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, Jasmine. Thank you for being on Real Talk. It is a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Well, Jasmine, we're going to get started. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So as you just introduced me, my name is Jasmine Kearse, and I'm the CEO and founder of Fountain of Life Coaching Services. So my business it's a health and wellness business where I help people achieve their weight loss goals. And I just really give them all the access, all the information that they need to really adopt a healthier lifestyle. Tools like how to eat healthy, personalized meal plans, how to juice, introducing them into the world of juicing, how to make fresh smoothies. Like I really do provide all the tools. It's not just be healthy and I'm leaving you flat, high and dry. I'm really providing all of the tools. I'm also a certified life coach as well, because a lot of people come into that. A lot of my clients, they don't know what to eat, or they're eating out of emotional distress. So they really, we kind of like work through some issues that triggers them to eat out of emotions and, kind of just help them to get on the right path.
That's beautiful. So Jasmine, can you just I love what you were saying, and we're going to dive more into that about emotional eating and, what causes us, I'm not going to make myself inclusive, to kind of go down those paths to eating the way we do. But how did your journey start?
Well, my family is West Indian, and I grew up seeing specifically Trinidad. So it's a lot of, curry, a lot of roti, a lot of, starches, and a lot of carbs, unhealthy carbs that turn into sugar in your body. And that's all I saw growing up. That's all my family made. My grandmother would be up making breakfast early in the morning, very heavy foods. And as a result of that, a lot of my family members suffer with chronic illnesses.
Wow.
So renal failure, we have that. We have high blood pressure. We have high cholesterol, cancer, you name it, unfortunately. And as I was getting older and I started having my children and realized that my children are my why, and I wanted to be around for them. I wanted to keep up with them. I wanted to, be able to give them something better than what I got. Not to any shade to my family. They did the best that they could, but I wanted my children to really have an advantage on being able to take charge of their health. So it started from seeing a real life situation that I decided I wanted to be better with.
That's great. You know, I was laughing when I opened the show because I said I had a confession to make, right? So, of course, I know what you do. I know what we're going to be doing on the show today. So, before I came, I ate a big chocolate chip cookie, like for real. So I
Okay.
was watching our commercial and I'm going, I should have had maybe a tomato or an apple. And it was just so funny to think about the new year is in, right, Jasmine? And oftentimes we make our New Year's resolution, so to speak. I'm going to do better. I'm going
Mhm.
to eat better. Why do we do that? And then why do we fall short?
I think it's because of just tradition. You
Yeah,
know, nobody we're not breaking those traditions. It's a mindset thing. Everybody is like, okay, January 1st, I'm resetting, and this
right.
is the beginning of the new year, so this is the beginning of a new me. Meanwhile, every day is our new us. Every day, it could be July 3rd. That if that's the day you decide you want to be better, that's your new you. That's your day to reset.
Right. So let's talk about water because
Okay.
I'm a water fanatic. I don't know. I just love water.
Same.
How and why is water so important when it comes to nutrition and health?
Well, because water keeps our body hydrated. Our body is made up of majority of water, right? And we need water in order to cleanse our body, cleanse our toxins, the toxins out of our body. It cleanses our cells and our arteries. There's no calories to it. So, we're not putting in any added sugar. It helps us to, when we're able to drink water and cleanse our bodies of whatever toxins or waste in our body, you get to see your skin clearing up, you get to see your hair growing. There's so many benefits for it because our bodies need that. Like you don't have to eat, but you do need to drink water.
Right. So let's go back to in the beginning of the show, you opened up with talking about being a life coach, which I commend you for that. I think that's phenomenal.
Thank you.
And to merge the two because they really do partner.
They do.
You know what I'm saying when it comes to eating
Right.
and things like that. When you have your different clients, how do you set them on that path of understanding that the merging, like maybe me eating bad is really it could be related to something in my past or whatever. How do you help people get through that?
Well, one of the things that I didn't mention is first and foremost, I'm a woman of God. I'm a believer of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So I believe we all, whether we're certified or not, we all have the ability to be a life coach. And being a life coach, I'm not simplifying it because there's a lot of things, education that has to go, work that has to go in to get the degree or the certificate rather. But it's just a time of just being a person and listening and having empathy with someone and really being able to minister life back into them. Because when we all have our different businesses, I'm sure to whatever degree your business that you have, we always are encountering someone who is going through something and they want someone to listen. So before I start throwing meal plans out or telling them, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that, I want to get to know the person. I want to know, well, what's going on inside of you? How are you doing today? Because I feel a lot of people are really not being asked that question. So before I'm a nutrition coach, before I'm a life coach, I'm a woman of God and I care. I really do care about people.
And I hear it as you're even speaking. You can hear the heart as you're talking. And I appreciate women like you who take the challenge
Mm-hmm.
to help a world that needs to be changed from the inside out.
Amen.
How can you relate to that? I mean, me coming from, many of my guests or people who know me know my background. I came out a very traumatic background from being abused as a child. And I realized as I got older, of course, that my healing in the process was going to be from the inside out. So
Right.
how do you work that through even with some of your clients? Like you said, as a woman of God, that is the advantage. For
Right.
anybody that's listening, Jasmine has an advantage knowing that she serves a God that can heal us. How do you help people see that?
Well, it starts with transparency. So, I always said to myself that, in my journey of the things, the different hardships that I've gone through, the different challenges, I always remembered praying, saying, God, when you get me through this, I'm going to use this.
Yes.
When you get me through this, I'm going to be able to tell other people God did this, because it's always about turning it back to God. How did you get healed from the trauma you have faced? Or how did you get through the financial challenges that you faced? How did you get through raising 5 children? Well, it was God that did that, and then from that point, that's when the conversation starts.
So what is the difference between nutrition,
Mhm.
eating healthy, and a diet? Is there a difference?
There is. That's a really good question because a diet is short term, and that's why they don't last long. That's why people cannot stay on a diet. Nutrition is a lifestyle.
Okay.
It's what you're gonna do every day.
Right.
I know I'm gonna wake up every day. I know I'm gonna pray. I know I'm going to drink water. I know I'm gonna work out. I know that this is the lifestyle. What am I gonna eat today?
So you turn it into a lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
but it starts up here in how your mindset is.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a few minutes, about the mindset and changing. The Bible tells us about the renewing of our minds. How do we implement that into making it a pathway, even with nutrition?
So, it starts with prayer. Even though I'm already certified, even in the morning when I pray, well, God, what am I supposed to eat today? I don't know. I run out of ideas on what to eat, because you do get tired, and you want to be able to explore new options. And it's really the determination that I have within myself that I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about it, I don't want to be diagnosed with cancer. I don't want to be diagnosed with high blood pressure. I don't want those things for myself. So it starts with the want for myself. And that's what I suggest to everyone.
Wow.
How bad do you want it? What's your why?
Right. So then discipline plays a key role then.
Yes.
Okay. And how does somebody that's not disciplined begin to be disciplined? Because and I know it goes back to the mind, but how do we start putting that habit as part of our routine, as you call lifestyle?
Right. It's accountability, so if they've partnered with me for me to help them, I become not only their nutritionist, not only their life coach, but I'm their accountability partner. And I'm showing them we're doing this together. So if you're doing a 21-day challenge with me, I'm doing a 21-day challenge with you. It's sending the text messages. How you doing today? What did you have your water today? You know what? I'm not really feeling so great today. Tell me how you're feeling. And we just holding each other accountable.
I like that. So then that lends itself to my next point of understanding support system.
Right.
And understanding that it's so important to have that village or that community, that person as yourself, to be able to engage in that person. Now, did you ever fall off
Yes.
from the journey? Can you share?
I fell off because I didn't have that support. I'm plant-based, so my family is not. So I've gotten, with the exception of my children, my immediate family, a lot of backlash on why are you doing this, and you don't know what you're doing, and it's okay to eat this and it's okay to eat that. And I'm the youngest of my siblings, so it was like, oh, she's just in her phase right now. So it was difficult because I'd have to cook for my children, and no one in my house is plant-based, so I'd still have to cook the food that they would like, and have to put in the extra effort to cook for myself. So I want to say I must have fell off like 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
Until one day I just said, you know what? I'm just going for this. And then that's when I went and I got certified as a plant-based nutritionist. And when the things that I started to learn, I was like, oh, wow, this is it for me.
So kind of help me then. Tell me, when you say plant-based, what are you saying? Just nothing but fruits and vegetables, no meat? Like, what do you mean?
So there's no animal protein. And so there's no eggs, there's no dairy, no chicken, beef, pork, fish. But I don't like to put myself in a box. So, and that's another thing that I share with my clients as well. If I put myself in a box, I'm going to fail. If I know that I'm putting limits on myself, I'm not going to do it. Know? So at first I just was like, okay, I'm going to allow myself fish, but know this. And that was my start to it, until I started to really explore and see that there's so many different things I can eat. There's so many fake meats out right now that, Beyond Meat has it's like ground beef, and you can do it. Anything you would do with ground beef or ground turkey, you can do with Beyond Meat. Impossible Meat. If I was going out and I wanted a burger, I would get an Impossible burger and make sure there's no mayo on it. So I think because being plant-based is so trending right now, it's easier now than it was when I started.
Wow. So you go to a restaurant and you just know exactly what you want. And suppose they don't have that. What do you find something else at that particular restaurant?
If I know that my family or my friends and I were going out to eat, I usually check the menu ahead of time. So when I check the menu ahead of time, I already have an idea of, I'm going to eat this, or I'm going to get this, or I'm going to get that. and it helps me that way. If for some reason I can't get the things that I want to eat, I will allow myself to have salmon.
Okay. Okay. Now, what kind of salmon? Because my husband's a cook and he tells me all the time about wild caught and is it farm raised or one of those?
It's the wild caught.
See, I know a little bit.
You know, he's telling you right. He's telling you right.
And he was explaining to me, Jasmine, how the wild caught isn't as fat. It doesn't have a lot of fat on it, but
that's correct
better for you.
That's
so
correct.
He was telling me that the other day. So I was like, okay. So I went to the store and I got wild caught and I made it for him. And it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah. So we're going to take a commercial break. And I'm so excited because Jasmine is going to kind of walk us through what's it like to juice. Now, before we take the commercial, Jasmine, when it comes to juicing, like what made you, I understand plant-based, but what made you start getting into juices? Because I happen to like juices myself. What made you get into that?
Because I didn't want to spend money on multivitamins anymore.
Wait a minute, really?
Yeah, so juicing is you literally making a liquid multivitamin every time you drink it.
Okay, we got to hurry up and get back because I need to see that. Okay, yeah. We'll be right back from this commercial, but I need to hear what Jasmine has to say. She's going to save me some money and buy my vitamins. Like that.
Okay.
Some of you are thinking, I wonder if some of you are thinking, hold on, why don't I just eat better? Why don't I just tell everyone to eat better? And indeed, there are some fantastic studies that document the strong relationship between dietary patterns and mental health, although we're still in very early days of scientific investigation. We don't know who would benefit from dietary manipulation alone and who may need the additional boost from extra nutrients. But even in the last 5 years, there have been 11 epidemiological studies cross-sectionally and around and longitudinally in large populations around the world, all showing the same thing. The more you eat a prudent or Mediterranean or unprocessed type of diet, the lower your risk for depression. And the more you eat the Western diet or processed food, the higher your risk for depression.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Jean Price. I am so excited about the show. I have a wonderful guest, and her name is Jasmine Kears, and she's been enlightening us on nutrition, and also she's a life coach, and she has the ability of merging the two, and she's come up with such a great regimen, is what I call it, to help all of us. So let's welcome Jasmine back to Real Talk.
Hello.
Hey, Jasmine.
Hi.
Okay, I'm waiting for this. So now to my guest, Jasmine is going to walk us through what's it like to juice. So Jasmine, I'm going to give you the floor, kind of walk us through juicing, and I have some questions already in my mind I want to ask. So I'm going to give it over to you right now.
Okay, so for example, if I woke up like in the summertime, I always care about how my skin looks. So I really do want to focus on juices that's going to help to give me that natural glow, or whatever it is that I'm feeling that I need, my skin needs, if my skin feels dehydrated. So let's just say that this is what I'm feeling in the day. I would put together, I know that pineapples help with a natural glow. It helps to reduce inflammation, so that if I'm bloated in any kind of way or my face has any puffiness, there's a component, an enzyme in pineapple called bromelain that helps to reduce all of that. So I would build my juice from pineapples. And then I know that I want to get water in. So, aside from just drinking natural water, I'm going to say, okay, well, what other fruits and vegetables has a heavy water content? So then I would say, okay, cucumbers, that's a good combination with pineapples, and the cucumber together is a good combination. And then, I just kind of like freestyle it at that point. I'm going to maybe I'll throw some cantaloupe in and some apples. Actually, this is one of my signature juices that I go and I sell, or I do at events. It's called my Immune Booster. So I've already put together what type of juice that I want. So now I'm going to go to the store and purchase all of the ingredients and prep it. So here I already have some pineapple prepped. So this was actually a whole pineapple, and I peeled it and, just cut it up in some chunks. obviously I would have gloves on if I'm making this for, customers or clients, and I wouldn't have my rings on because you're not supposed to be making juices and have jewelry on. So I have my pineapples here. I have a small bowl with cucumbers. I also have cantaloupe, which is very hydrating to our skin. And I also have some apples to give it a little bit extra sweetness, because we want the juice to taste good, because who's going to drink it if it doesn't taste good? So I would put this in my juicer. I have several juicers because this is the industry that I'm in. So I have a commercial juicer, and I also have a juicer when I just want to make stuff at home.
Okay.
So when my clients ask me for recommendations on juices, I can give them recommendations based on, having something at home, because obviously they don't need a commercial juicer.
Right.
So I ran some of these fruits already through my juicer for the sake of this demonstration, and this is what it kind of comes out looking like.
Oh wow.
So I haven't this at this point now, I would just strain this to get all of the film that's the white stuff that you see here, the film and any extra pulp that's in this juice. I would strain it and then we drink it, and that's it.
I have a question, Jasmine. I don't like melon of no sort.
Okay.
Cantaloupe. So what are some of the things that you can do as replacements? Like, I like pineapple, but it's too sweet. So what would I do? Because I love the fact you talked about your skin. What's another fruit instead of pineapple for that reason?
So if you didn't want to do pineapple, we could do watermelon.
I don't like melon.
You don't like any melons at all. We could do a green juice.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Green juice is perfect. It still does the same thing, and it's not as sweet. So when I have clients that have diabetes, they can't drink any of these juices either because of the high sugar content, or they would have to adjust their insulin, and I don't want them to have to do all of that. So we would do a green juice, and the green juice could be any green vegetable, leafy vegetable as its base. I usually will do kale, but there are some clients that don't like kale, so I'll do spinach. You can do Swiss chard. You can do romaine lettuce. Anything that's green and leafy. Just really go into the produce section in your grocery store and just kind of okay, I want to try this and I want to try that.
Right.
I tried Swiss chard one time just to kind of experiment, but then I had a reaction to it, so I don't juice that anymore.
Okay.
So this is why before I start making juices, or if I have customers that want to order juices, I get this information from them. So are you allergic to pineapples? Are you allergic to melons? Do you not like it? So that way I can put together what they want.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So now so here it is, you make the juices, and I guess we have to determine, to your point, which juice I guess best fits. How often should you juice?
Every day.
Okay. Is it more than once a day? Because I can see what I do in the morning, Jasmine, I'll do water. I love water. I'll put lemon or lime to start my morning off.
Perfect.
But then I make a protein shake. Is the protein shake more healthier for you, or is it better to have a juice?
Well,
or does it matter?
It's kind of based on what you're feeling. The way that I look at it and what I suggest is when you wake up in the morning, you're literally breaking your fast, because when we're sleeping, our body is in a fasted state. Okay. So you don't want to wake your body up by throwing so much stuff, bacon, egg, and cheese, or coffee, or any of these things to, force your body to wake up. You want to do a gentle wake up. So I always suggest waking up perfect of what you just said. Have the water with lemon or lime. You can have that in the morning, wait 30 minutes, and then have a juice.
Okay.
And then after you have your juice, you wait 30 minutes, then you can have your protein shake, or you can start having maybe a parfait, or maybe you can have an omelet, just something that's not so heavy.
Right. So one of my best friends, Yolanda, has chimed in, and she has a question for you.
Okay.
She's asking, can you blend kale or spinach with the juice you just made?
So that's a great question. So you can blend your juice if you don't have a juicer, but the only thing is it's not going to separate. A juicer separates the fiber from the fruit. So that's why it comes out with this juice like consistency. You see, it's very like light, like a juice, like a regular juice. If you blend it, it's going to come out more like a smoothie. So here's what I suggest. If you're going to make these fruits in a blender, I would strain it. Get like a fine strainer or a cheesecloth, pour it, take it from the blender, pour it in there, and then just kind of like strain it as best as you can. It's still not going to be the same like a juicer, but it's still, you're going to get some benefits from it.
You said a key word today, Jasmine, and we often talk, my husband and I, fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Fiber is so important. So
Right.
with the juices that you make, does the fiber, you get more fiber? Or and a part two to that question, please, is even for those of us that may be anemic, what's a good juice for that? So fiber for those that need it, and then what about people that are anemic?
So that's great that you're asking that question also, because a lot of people, because it's the new year, they start to say, well, I want to do a juice cleanse. And I tell all of my customers, you don't want to do a juice cleanse. If you're going to do a juice cleanse, you need to partner with me to get my consultation services, because we need that fiber and these juices don't have it. So of course you're going to lose weight. Your body's going to cleanse and you're going to lose the weight and you're going to feel great. But as soon as you get off the juice cleanse, you're going to gain the weight back.
Wow. And why is that? I'm just curious.
Because you're giving your body a break, and then you're not really making a change. You're just giving yourself a break for 2 to 3 days or 7 days or 21 days, however long the juice fast is. And then you're going right back to the same old way of eating.
Right. So it's more important to keep the consistency, not that extreme kind of rush, if I can call it that way.
Right.
Interesting. So for somebody that's anemic, then what do you suggest for somebody, that's going through that?
So anyone that is for anemia, I would suggest green juices, because green juice has a lot of iron in it. So one of my daughters was recently anemic, and she asked me for help. Well, she didn't really ask me for help. I kind of like forced my help on her because she's not. So it was important for her to get her iron levels up. So, I was telling her about having spinach or any the green leafy vegetables. But here's the thing. In order for iron to be absorbed in our body, it has to be paired with vitamin C. So you would have to do a spinach or kale or any green leafy vegetables along with maybe pineapples in it or any other fruit that has vitamin C for it to be absorbed.
Okay. I'm glad you said fruit, because I don't like orange juice because I just think it's just too sweet. That's the only reason why. So I'm glad. So you could use a fresh orange.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Another one of my dear friends has another question for you.
Okay.
And she's asking, what about using a NutriBullet? Can I use that?
A NutriBullet is not going to give you juice. That's good for a smoothie. So it's not going to give you the juice that you want, but you can do smoothies as well. Everyone doesn't want a juice. That's the reality of it. A lot of people I don't want that. I want to have a smoothie. So kale doesn't blend well in a NutriBullet. So I would suggest, if you want to make a green smoothie, which is also very good for your body, do spinach and throw in whatever else you want.
And what's the price ranges on the juices? Because you mentioned you have a commercial one and then I guess a non-commercial. So what's the price ranges?
On juicers, you said?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You can get a good juicer on Amazon for $150-ish, around there. Okay. Or you can get one that's maybe $250. Oh, wow. My commercial juicer was $1,000, but like I said, that's no one's paying that, because you're not, unless you're making juices in large volumes, then you can go ahead and do that.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Now, another question, and this is so good. It's not just juices. What other things can we do to start eating healthy? Now, another thing I like, Jasmine, is salads. I love salads, but then I find that on my salad, I put maybe the dressing. Mm-hmm. Should it be more of a vinaigrette? Mm-hmm. Or should it be, because I like ranch, I like blue cheese, which is the creamy dressings. What do you suggest?
So I would always suggest the lighter dressing, because when you're trying to eat clean, so to speak, whether you're plant-based or you're not plant-based, you don't want to put too many things, you don't want to add too many calories. Oh, sorry. You don't want to add too many calories in your food. So you want to go with the lighter dressings. But if you did want a creamy dressing, I would suggest like Trader Joe's has really good they have a plant-based Caesar dressing and they have a plant-based ranch dressing. So I would suggest that, and it really doesn't taste different.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to do that. So we have more. This is so good. You have questions on the flour. Yolanda's asking, can you tell us a name of a juicer to buy on Amazon? The name of the juicer.
Sure. You can check out any Breville, Breville. That's a good brand.
Okay.
And then once you like put like Breville juicers in the search engine, you can just kind of like go like read the reviews or check the price range and then take it from there.
Okay, and now I want to, as Yolanda's doing that, I want to talk about the business that you do with juicing. Is there a juice book that you have that's out? Are your recipes available? How could somebody want to be a part of what you do to make their health a little better? How do we do that? And I do see the information to my audience. It is on the screen, but I wanted Jasmine to kind of explain that to us as well.
So I do have a juicing ebook. I'm working on a second one now. So you can go to my website at the bottom of the screen. And I believe you go under shop and you should be able to see how you can order it. It's $19.99. It has my top 10 juices in it, which is very simple. It gives the benefits of the juices as well. It's very beginner friendly. You know, it's not hard at all. This is not hard at all. It's just really, you have to want to do it. I will say that cleaning the juicer, the cleanup part after it's not the best experience. So you can do that. You can also order juices off of my website now, where we do ship.
Okay.
You can do that. You can partner with me if you want to reach out to me on social media. Follow me on Instagram for consultations. I do consultations as well if you want to get like a personalized meal plan, or you just like, Jasmine, I need some help and some guidance on how to get this started. My goal is not to keep you working, is not to work with you forever. It's just to give you the tools so that you can at some point be able to do it on your own.
Right. And this is so good, Jasmine, because there are some people that are suffering with health crises, such as cancer and different things like that. Is there a health regimen to help people like that?
Yes, it's just at that point, I unfortunately did have a friend who had cancer, and she just needed to make sure that all of the recipes that I was giving to her, that her doctor was good with it, because we didn't want it to have any adverse reactions with her chemo medication or whatever the case may be. But that's the time, unfortunately, that's the time people are like, okay, I need to take charge of my health. And that's what I really, that's what I really try to get away from. Like, I don't want the problem to arise and then we have to fix it.
Exactly. Right.
Let's take this thing and take charge of our health now, so that we do not have to wait to pay all of this money to not feel well. Like, we only have one life.
Yeah.
And it's our responsibility to live that life the way God intended it to us, in good health.
And to those that are watching tonight, I agree with Jasmine wholeheartedly that I believe that God opens doors like this for us to hear this, and we are to be accountable for what we hear. And I see things like that in my life. Like, okay, I'm listening to Jasmine. I'm saying to myself, yes, this is what we need to do. I feel like we need to be preventative, because what happens if we're proactive, then we don't have to worry about being reactive. Exactly. And I think that's what Jasmine is saying. We don't want to start reacting when things go crazy. We want to be proactive. So I know I'm asking a lot of questions because this is so good.
This is good. I can do this all night, really.
So then, Jasmine, let's talk about really quickly. I've heard olive oil is good for you as far as being in foods. Can you know anything about like olive oil and what olive oil does? Because instead of using regular oil when you're cooking, should you use olive oil? Because butter, we know, is not necessarily good for you.
Right. So olive oil is very light, and it doesn't have so much calories. It's like refined. So it really does, you're really getting the most nutrients out of it. I don't suggest cooking with olive oil because it burns quickly. So if you wanted to cook with a lighter oil instead of using like canola, vegetable, or peanut oil? I think that's the other oil. I think I said vegetable. You can use almond oil.
Hmm.
Almond oil is delicious, and the good thing about almond oil is it gives you like the required amount of fats that you need to have, because it's
Okay.
you get that,
Okay.
you can get that from the oil.
Okay. And Yolanda wrote in the chat, what about coconut oil? She said coconut oil is good as well.
Coconut oil is trending right now. I'm not a fan of coconut oil. I don't like the way that it tastes in food.
Oh,
But that's just my personal preference. You
right.
might like it,
Of course. Yeah.
Now
Absolutely.
I do use coconut oil to do oil pulling in the morning. So like I'll use coconut oil. If you're not familiar with what oil pulling is, I take a tablespoon of coconut oil, refined coconut oil, and gargle with it for like 15 minutes before I brush my teeth, and it really it pulls up all of like the excess plaque on your teeth and helps your teeth to be white, so that now you don't have to go outside and spend money to get your teeth whitened, or all of this stuff that the world wants you to spend money on.
Wait, can we rewind that for 1 second?
Yeah.
Coconut oil?
Yes, you can.
Really?
Yeah, it's called oil pulling. Look it up. You can get a lot of information about what coconut oil does, but it's perfect for your teeth. Me and my sons will use it like every day.
Okay. All right. We need to put that in the chat.
Yeah.
It's called oil pulling.
Yes, it's called oil pulling. And
Okay.
you use coconut oil, and you can, like they say, like the recommended amount of time to swish it around in your mouth is like 15 minutes, but build yourself up to it, because sometimes you got to get used to it. So like 10 minutes, and then take a shower while you're doing this, and then
Right.
wash your face and everything, and then after that spit it out and into the garbage can. Don't put it in the sink or the
Right. And I agree with Yolanda. She just wrote, wow, this is good information. This is so good. Are there any other secret tools that you can share with us tonight to kind of help us along this journey of just really getting healthy? That's really what it's about.
I would say supplements are not the best option. You will go and spend a lot of money in, these stores buying a lot of stuff that you don't need. And a lot of these vitamins that they say are good for you, they're not FDA approved anyway. So why not just take that money? If you could spend like maybe $100
Yeah.
in these stores. You want, vitamin D. I'm not telling you to get off of your vitamins. If your doctor's telling you need you're vitamin D deficient, of course, continue to do that. I do take vitamin D supplement, because most African Americans are vitamin D deficient, especially if we live in the boroughs of New York. But I would just really say, like, take charge of your own health. You want energy? Have a green juice.
Right.
You want your skin to glow? Have some pineapple juice, like this. And it's not that you have to work with me. I'd love for you to work with me, but everything is on the internet now. You can find anything out on the internet.
Wow, that's so good. I want to go back to one question. What does somebody take, Jasmine, for high blood pressure? What's the juice?
This is a good question, because I recently, maybe I want to say about 2 months ago, I went to the doctor and my blood pressure was high. And I was like, it was the height of everything going on in my life with my business and school and all the other stuff. And my blood pressure was high. So beet juice, I have a juice that I make. It's called the Beet Box. Beet juice is so amazing to help lower your blood pressure.
Really?
Yes.
It's beet juice mixed with other things, not just the beets?
It's beets. In this particular recipe, it's beets, carrots, and apples.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously when I make it, I mask the taste of the beets.
Right.
Because beets has a very earthy taste, and people are not really, so they don't want to taste that. So I will make beet juice, and I was drinking that like maybe 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay.
I was also drinking a lot of, what's the name of the tea that I was drinking? Chamomile tea at night.
Favorite. Mm-hmm.
So the chamomile tea was really to relax me, because I was like high. It was a height of anxiety that I was going through. So I can speak to this point really well, because I just went through it. And it did take some time with me monitoring my blood pressure. I was taking my blood pressure like twice a day to make sure. And it's better now. It's like, I think it's 120/80, and that's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Wow. And and it's interesting you said that, because I was going through a little season of blood pressure, and my doctor had me take my blood pressure twice a day. That's why I wanted to ask. Thank God now it is normalized. Good. But I do like the fact of knowing, because I'm like, I want to be healthy. So and I like beets. So beet juice for me would be fine. I like beets. Yeah. All right.
Wonders.
It does. So because I always heard another thing is that garlic is supposed to be good for lowering blood pressure. Is that the case as well?
I've heard that too. I'm just not a garlic fan because I talk to the public a lot and I just don't want that smell.
Because it comes out your pores. That is so.
Does, even if it's not your breath, they're like, what, Jazz? I had a friend of mine, she's like, Jazz, what
Right.
do you have on? And it was the garlic. And I was just had a little bit of garlic in some pasta, and garlic doesn't work well for me. So that's,
We understand. Well, to my viewing audience, Jasmine, give us your final words. Give us something to take home. And listen, those that are watching tonight, you want to hook up with Jasmine, get in touch with her because it's important. I mean, I'm in my 50s and I'm going, listen, I got to take charge of my life, my health, and I just want to make sure that I'm on the right path. And also, before we go there, Jasmine, Keith chimed in and said onions are good in raw onions. What is your thought on onions?
Yeah, I love red onions. So I'll do red onions as much as I can in my salads. And if I'm sauteing vegetables, I'll saute garlic. I'll use garlic and onions in sauteing because when you're cooking it, it takes away. It's not so powerful.
Right. Okay. Final words, Jasmine, before we close?
I just want to, encourage everyone to really let this be a year that you take charge of your health. Don't let anyone determine what you are supposed to what you can and can't do. Everything that you need to live a healthy lifestyle in your mind, your body, and your spirit is within your own reach. And if you can't do it, connect with me, connect with somebody else that's going to help you, hold you accountable, because we all have purpose in our lives and we can't fulfill that purpose if we are sick or we're depressed or whatever.
Yeah. Listen, to my audience, we want to thank Jasmine for being on Real Talk. Jasmine, you've been a blessing.
Thank you.
It helped us, and I don't want to use it as a cliche, starting the year off right, but you really gave us some great insight. And the truth of the matter is what we should be doing. That's really what it boils down to. We should be taking care of ourselves. So to my viewing audience, let's thank Jasmine. Write something in the chat to her. Reach out to her. Let her know how much you appreciate the information she's given us. Or maybe you might want to hook up with her because she can help you start the path in your journey to eating right and being healthy. See you all next week on Real Talk with Jean Price. Jasmine, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Some of you are thinking, I wonder if some of you are thinking, hold on, why don't I just eat better? Why don't I just tell everyone to eat better? And indeed, there are some fantastic studies that document the strong relationship between dietary patterns and mental health, although we're still in very early days of scientific investigation. We don't know who would benefit from dietary manipulation alone and who may need the additional boost from extra nutrients. But even in the last 5 years, there have been 11 epidemiological studies cross-sectionally and around and longitudinally in large populations around the world, all showing the same thing. The more you eat a prudent or Mediterranean or unprocessed type of diet, the lower your risk for depression. And the more you eat the Western diet or processed food, the higher your risk for depression.